Hi, guys. Welcome to the Simple Doesn't Mean Easy podcast. We are here weekly, Mondays and Fridays, working at simplifying things in our lives, one day at a time, one simple step at a time. I'm your host, Michelle Visser, and today we're going through a list of 5 things that I am stocking up on, and I'm telling you why. Before I do that, though, to tell you about is Hearth and Homestead Store. They have become a first line of defense, protecting my family's skin from toxic, man made, carcinogenic ingredients. You see, at Hearth and Homestead Store, they are committed to synthetic free ingredients and they are completely transparent with their ingredient list. But they even go a step further. They use the best of the best ingredients. And this is what I love, zero fillers. Did you know that a company can call it tallow balm, which by the way, I know is all the rage now. You see it everywhere, but be careful because they can call it tallow balm and it have 20% tallow. And most of the time it is industrial raised tallow and 80% filler. But with Hearth and Homestead, it is 100% grass fed and grass finished tallow. 100%. On top of that, they infuse it with herbs and natural elements like magnesium. Bill and I and my mother in law love the magnesium butter. It genuinely took away my mother in law's restless legs, and it is so great at soothing sore muscles. I love the face serum. I love so many of the soaps. I love the perfume. It's all natural. You know what? You just need to go see. Either go right to Hearth and Homestead store, or if you want to see my personal favorites, go to soulyrested.com/soap, SOAP, and be sure to use code SOLYRESTED to save 15% on your entire order, every order. And if you're spending over 100, the shipping is free. You can't beat it. Hearth and Homestead Store. Last episode, I mentioned sometimes I will just eat the donut or whatever the bad quality food is that's around. I mentioned last episode that I am not a purist. And I think my example last episode was that Bill might be eating a donut and be like, hey, you got to taste this. And sometimes I go, "Ooh, that's not what I would normally eat," and I wanna say no, but I realize, you know what? One bite is not gonna hurt me, and he and I can then have a discussion about the flavors and why he likes it, and it's okay. I don't have to be a purist. Well, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I really think a lot of times we need to remind ourselves of that in a lot of areas of our life. And I think the same thing holds true when folks get all caught up in political issues or they watch the news too much. And they can be downright rude and ugly because they're being kind of a purist about whatever their side is or whatever issues they're all riled up about. But the fact is, whether it's food or politics or whatever it is we're talking about, if we allow ourselves to get stressed out over it, we're only hurting ourselves. We're only hurting our health, right? I mean, the funny thing is, if we get too stressed out about what we're eating and too stressed out about what toxins might be in something and too stressed out about, can I just have one bite of that or should I not have any? Whatever it is, we're causing our stress hormones to go crazy. And we're actually having the opposite effect on our health that we think we are. We're trying to be pure about what we eat, and we think that's going to help us in the long run, which ideally, of course, it should. But if we're stressed about it, then we could very well see the exact opposite effects. We could see our health decline. We could see ourselves not able to take off those pounds we're trying to take off or gaining weight as a result of the stress. So, why do we get so stressed out? Okay, the reason all this is on my mind today is because of this topic of today's episode. I first reached out via email to my followers with this whole idea. Um, I've actually added more to it. It's more in depth than my email was. But last week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I sent an email about this topic that we're talking about today. And I got some of the nastiest responses. I mean, Some were literally using foul language and, telling me some really nasty stuff and then telling me, I'm just making sure you know this before I unsubscribe. Well, I mean, if you want to stop following somebody on social media or you want to stop getting their emails, that is totally okay. It's understandable. Just go ahead and hit the unfollow or hit the unsubscribe. You don't need to make a big announcement, right, on your way out. And if you are choosing to make that big announcement and be stressed and cuss at the person, you're probably hurting your own health in the long run, right? So, why do we do this? And why do we feel so entitled sometimes to make that nasty comment? Um, I'm not really sure why, honestly. There's a lot of reasons I could say, but in the end, my point is don't sacrifice your own health in the name of whatever this special, pure soapbox is that you're on. And case in point, this email that I sent was about tariffs. First of all, let's talk about the word tariff. Did you have trouble spelling it? I feel so silly that whenever I go to type it, I have too many of one consonant and not enough of the other consonant. Do you know what I mean? It's one R and two Fs, but I am always putting two R and one F. But that's totally unrelated to anything. Maybe I'm just spelling challenged. I used to be great at spelling. In fact, my brother, when he was applying for his college acceptance, he's 8 years older than I am. And I still remember him being upstairs and me being downstairs and him yelling at me a couple different times to spell a certain word for him. So if he was 18, I was 10, and I was spelling his highfalutin words for his college application. So I used to be really good at spelling, but then I got to fifth grade, maybe it was sixth grade, and they introduced phonics. Everything went downhill for me from then on. But anyway, again, I'm digressing. And if you are a fan of phonics, sorry, it just didn't work for me. But okay, I sent the email about the tariffs. I got these nasty messages, and it really made me hesitate about doing this podcast episode. I honestly thought, well, I'm just not going to mention the word tariff anywhere. I'm not going to mention it on social media. I don't need to do a podcast about that. Like, I don't want to offend people. But then I thought, wait a minute. This is crazy. Like, this is not even a political issue. I said nothing in my email whatsoever about any politics and what side I was on of the issue. I didn't even give my opinion on the tariff. If I think tariffs are a good idea or a bad idea, I didn't do that at all because honestly, it didn't matter. My point was the fact that prices are going to be impacted. And my other point was the fact that I was trying to get ahead of the game and I was storing a few things in bulk ahead of time. And the final fact was that I love sharing these thoughts with you guys, and I absolutely love helping others, giving you some ideas, inspiring you, encouraging you to eat better and do it in simple ways. And one of the simplest ways is to make sure you have things on hand that you need for the drinks or the meals that you want to make. And it's much easier to have it on hand if you can buy it at a better price than when it goes up to twice the price in a few months, right? Like, that's it. That was the fact. I wasn't saying anything beyond that. So I don't know to this day why it was such a heated response that I got. Now, I should say I got just as many, if not more, very, very kind responses and questions asking me about some of the things that I was stocking up on. And, I definitely got happy mail too. Don't worry. But I'm not used to getting, I don't know, this violently mad response when I send out an email. Like, typically, recipes and real food and simple living, it doesn't usually cause a violent response, and I didn't know that tariffs would. So, anyway, here are the 5 things that I am gonna be stocking up on. Let's just go down the list one at a time. First of all, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast. It's hard for me sometimes to remember where I've done certain content, where I've recorded a certain video, or where I mentioned a certain thing. But I think we've talked about it here on the podcast that I am stocking up on teas. I've already done it. I have a large box that is actually waterproof. It doesn't have to be waterproof, but that's how good the seal is. In fact, I have a lid here from a smaller one. This one wouldn't be, if you're on YouTube, you can see. I'll describe it if you're not. This one would be too small to hold many of my 1 pound bags of tea. But I wanted to show you what the seal looks like and what the material looks like. It's a really hard material. And this seal is fantastic. You put the lid on, and then it has, on my bigger box with my teas, it has 6 different flaps that are, how do you want to describe it? Um, Latches that keep the lid down tight. So it's 6 of them all the way around. So the lid is down tight and it has this great seal. So the tea is really sealed up well. And then I keep it in a dark, cool closet that we use for our pantry storage. It doesn't have to really be cold, cold. It's just not, it's not sunny. It doesn't have a window to get heated in the summer. It's a cool area. Um, so because I have this system set up that I know I can store the tea in bulk, it lasts for years. I have actually had some teas. Don't tell Bill, because when I get a big order of tea, he's always like, don't you have some you need to use before you ordered more? But what he doesn't understand is they're all different varieties and you need all different varieties, guys. But I have some that I've had for 10 years and they taste delicious. They're totally fine. Um, but I'm digressing. That's just between you and I, okay? um, so here, if you're on YouTube, is what 1 pound of tea looks like. To describe it to those of you who are just listening, this is probably 8 inches, no, 10 inches tall, 6 inches wide, and the bottom kind of fans out a little bit. It's not very big. And this is a heavy duty material that it comes in. It has a Ziploc seal across the top. After you open it, you can seal it back up. And this will keep just fine, just in a closet, any old closet. But once I open them, I then put them in my sealed waterproof box, just because sometimes if I don't get the Ziploc totally sealed well, and I don't bother vacuuming out the air, you can do that. I used to keep my teas in a vacuum sealed canister, and that's a great option. But I just kind of got rid of that one little extra step. And I now keep it in the bag it came in the box with the sealed lid. It keeps beautifully. Now, once I open it, of course, I want to have it handy in the kitchen. So I just use mason jars. I put my tea in a wide mouth mason jar with this lid that has another great seal. You do want to make sure you have a sealed lid. And that smells so good. And I keep this in a pantry closet in my kitchen. By the way, I am doing Friday episodes of Friday favorites. And those are just short little 5-minute episodes that are coming out on Fridays with no ads, quick to the point, talking about one particular thing. And let me think of when it's going to come out compared to this one. I think it'll be the same week as this one. It'll be Friday of this week if you're listening to this in current present time. The episode that's coming out 4 more days from now. If you get the emails about the podcast, I did a tutorial video about Friday's favorite. And in that video, if you're wondering, why the heck am I telling you all this? How does it relate to tea? In that video, I actually am in my kitchen and I show you my tea collection and I show you how I store it in the kitchen. So watch for that if you want to know more about that. So I think I've shared that I have a friend in the tea industry. I talked to him a few weeks ago and he told me that particular day that the price of tea from China specifically, that his company sources, had risen 245%. Crazy. Now, I have not talked to him since. It could be that things have fluctuated and maybe it's even a little lower now, but I'm pretty certain tea might be one of the top things that we can be stocking up on and save a lot of money from buying it months from now versus now. And when you buy the teas that I am always recommending, when you buy those particular ones in bulk, the price is amazing. Their prices are fantastic for organic teas. But if you go up to the bulk size, you're getting 4 times as much tea as the small bag at twice the price. So I find that amazing. Plus, they have free shipping. I think it's $35 and over. Maybe no, it's $50 and I'm not sure. I always get free shipping because I always reach that level. Um, so why not buy in bulk if it's something you're using a lot of that's going to last you for, as I've discovered, 10 years? I'm sure they wouldn't tell you that. I'm sure they wouldn't say, "Oh, go ahead and buy enough for 10 years because it'll be fine." Because they have their certain high standards and what they recommend. But I can personally tell you, 10 years from now, it tastes just as great as it does today. So why not buy it when you know it's at a good price? That's the way I see it because that's the way that I can afford to keep the really good ingredients on hand. So I don't have to sacrifice the quality, the organic, the great taste in the name of price. I don't have to. So teas, stocking up on teas. Number two, the second thing. And this, by the way, got controversy for another reason when I shared this in my email, not for political reasons, but I had a few people message me that they were angry that I included salt on my list. Now, to be fair, they didn't understand what I was explaining. They kind of missed a few sentences, but they saw that I was stocking up on Redmond real salt. And they right away messaged me, "Michelle, that is mined in the US. That is not going to be impacted by tariffs." Well, my point was actually I like to make a lot of my own seasonings, and all of them are, most of them are a salt base. So I was stocking up on other things I need for those seasonings as well, like different medicinal herbs. We're going to get to those later in my list too. Um, so I figured, why not stock up on salt as well? It never goes bad. Never. There's no reason to not have a lot of it on hand. And my bucket was getting closer to empty. So I stocked up. I got a 25-pound bag of salt. I was not implying that I thought the salt itself was going to raise in prices because of the tariffs. But the couple people that reached out to me about that had me curious. And I started thinking, well, there are other things that I love to keep on hand from Redmond. A couple seasonings I cannot imagine living without. Garlic salt is, I'm sorry, pepper, garlic pepper, that's what they call it, is one of them. Love their garlic pepper in so many different uses. And I love their relight for hydration. Just popcorn salt. I can't imagine not having their popcorn salt because I am making popcorn at least 4 or 5 times a week for my snack during the day or while we're watching TV. And I can't imagine having it without their popcorn salt. It's that good. So I just started thinking, wait, first of all, a lot of the things that I get from them, like the garlic pepper and the relight, have a lot of other ingredients, not just salt. So they're sourcing those ingredients from different suppliers, and I wonder if they will be impacted by tariffs. So I reached out to them. I have a friend there. She's awesome. She got right back to me and she said that she checked with her team and she checked with the powers that be. And the official answer was they're hoping that their products won't be impacted by the tariffs. But, oh, let me say, and they were doing all kinds of things to safeguard against rising prices. They had already done a lot when they first heard about the tariffs. They started putting in some practices into play, such as bringing in new suppliers, finding other sources for some of these items that so they could have more than one place if um, quality or quantity started to dwindle. And they really truly didn't foresee a huge spike in prices in the future at all. But she did say that they really aren't sure. There very well could be a bump in pricing. I mean, for one thing, whenever prices rise on anything related to our business or related to our lives in general, it could certainly have a ripple effect, right? Um, But they also, they said there's a lot of different factors. So what they said was, we hope to not see a big increase, but we probably will see a slight increase and we really can't be sure long term. So I was really impressed with their answer. I was impressed with all the different things that they have already put into motion, what they're doing to prepare for kind of the worst scenario. And really one of their number one objectives. First of all, their number one objective, I'm sure, is quality. But second of all, is to really keep their prices affordable. So they're working on it. But there's no guarantee. Salt never goes bad. Why not stock up on a 25-pound bag of salt? That's the best salt that's going to add 64 trace minerals to everything that you season with it. There you go. That's my theory. If you're going to stock up on any of the great things at Redmond Real Salt, definitely use my code solely rested, SOULYRESTED, and save 15% all the time off your entire order. If you're spending over $35, shipping is free, even on a 25-pound bag of salt. Isn't that crazy that they could ship that for free? I don't know how they do it, but they do. If you want to see all my favorites, I didn't mention everything. Go to soulyrested.com/salt and I link to, I think, my 12 top favorite things that I try to always keep on hand in my pantry from Redmond Real Salt. So go to soulyrested.com/salt and use my code SOLYRESTED. I want to pause with something that actually might surprise you a little if you've been following me for any length of time on any platform. One of our sponsors today that I want to talk to you about for a second is a canning jar company. If you know me, you know I am not big into canning. I will do it, but it is definitely not my favorite means to preserve food. And I kind of dread it. But these are canning jars I can get behind 100%. It turns out I love to use them for storing food and as a drinking glass. You can see if you're on YouTube that I have a pint and a half size jar, which is perfect for a glass that I have my ice water in right now. But here's the thing, if I did can, I'd be using the jars from Azure Standard because they are made better. They simply are. I have read numerous sources in different Facebook canning groups how they're superior to other jars. They're actually thermal shock tested. They're better than anything else you're going to find on the market. And I love that they're thoughtfully designed and the logo is etched inward so you can put a label across your canning jar without any problem. And it's made of thick glass, so there's a less chance of breaking. Plus, they're this really pretty light blue, kind of robin's egg blue color. So check them out. Go to soulyrested.com/Azure, Azure, for lots more information about this amazing food supply company and their canning jars. Other things, by the way, that I'm excited that they now have a Relight hydration drink. They're delicious in a bulk size bag. I am all about bulk sizes, guys, if that's not obvious already. um, and when I get their garlic pepper, and I love their, is it called lemon? I can't remember. It's the lemon seasoning one. What else do I have? Oh, there's seasoned salt. I have that as well. All of them I have in the extra large container. If you're watching on YouTube, my hands are showing you how big it is. It's probably, I don't know, 6 to 7 inches tall container, but that way I can use it liberally. They all are so delicious and they're adding those trace minerals. So I use all of them liberally and I don't even think twice about it because I'm buying them in bulk. So, okay, so tea and salt. Number 3 on my list is flour. It's something we're using every single day. And even though a lot of our flour is grown, they can grow it in the US. Like I said, there's always a ripple effect, and the prices overall for any business or farmer are probably going to be impacted in some small way. So you never know. You might see an increase even in the American grown wheat berries, which, by the way, is what I mean when I say I'm stocking up on flour. I have been grinding my own flour exclusively, not buying it from the store, using it anyway since early this year. So for the past 5, 6 months, all I've done is rely on my wheat berry stash. So I went down to the basement, opened up every one of those 5 gallon buckets. I have those smart seal lids. And you know what? Everything I'm mentioning in this episode, even these lids, if you go to soulyrested.com/resources, there are all different links there to go to anything, whether it's ingredients or tools in my kitchen or, you know, gardening things. It's all there. So I think I'm going to stop telling you different URLs because I know it gets old. Just go to soulyrested.com/resources and you'll find these smart lids I'm talking about if you want to check them out. but I have a whole lot of buckets in my basement. I think I might have 12 different wheat berries, I think, down there. So I went through them all to see what was running low, what I needed to buy more of. And on my resource page, I link to my wheat berries that I keep on hand and where I source them from. And then when I bring them up to my kitchen, I don't go down to the basement every time I need a cup of flour. I will put them in jars. On YouTube, you'll see I actually put them behind me. This is quite a show and tell day. I use 1 gallon jars for my most used wheat berries, and then I will use half-gallon jars for my alternative grains or things I'm not using quite as much of. And that's how I keep them up in my kitchen. So when I say stock up, I mean stock up when it comes to wheat berries. If you want to know more about all these varieties of wheat berries and how to use them, what their flavor profile is, if they are soft or hard wheat berry, and what that means, I have loaded up Fresh Flower University with so much information about wheat berries. I would love for you to go check it out. Solelyrested.com/flower. You can find out all about Fresh Flower University. And if you're listening to this as it goes live, you still have, I think, about a week to get it at the introductory price. The really low introductory price even includes lots of bonuses. So go check it out. Solelyrested.com/flour. FLOUR. So tea, salt, flour. The fourth thing that I'm stocking up on is coffee. And let me show you this bag of coffee. This is a 5-pound bag of coffee, and it smells amazing. I I literally am so excited. I'm surprised I didn't start with this. I'm so excited about it. Why didn't I start with this? I don't know. Now that I'm smelling it though, I really want a latte. This coffee is something I just discovered literally 2 weeks ago, and I have tried 3 of their flavors. Absolutely love it. My favorite of all is the Guatemalan coffee. It has hints of caramel. Oh my word. I've never had a latte so good, even from my absolute favorite local coffee shop. I have never had a latte so good as the one I can make at home with coffee from Java Planet. Is that what they're called? Let me check. Yes, Java Planet. I found them because I was searching long and hard for a coffee that was completely mold free and that was guaranteed to be mold free and organic. Believe it or not, most coffee that we enjoy, unfortunately, has mold and it is so not good for us. It's also a very acidic drink, which is really not good for us in a lot of ways. But this coffee is even low in acid. And it's delicious. Like, it's seriously the best tasting coffee I've ever had. I don't know how they do this, how they cross off all the things, check all the boxes, have a great price, especially if you're buying in bulk size, even give you free shipping. I think you spend $60 and it's free shipping. So I hadn't even tasted the coffee. I had just read lots of great reviews and I went ahead and ordered the 5-pound bag because the price is so good at the bulk size. And like I said, the reviews were great, and it was free shipping if I went ahead and ordered the big bag. So I dove in, and I'm so excited that I did. I highly recommend this coffee, and I highly recommend stocking up. This is why tariffs are definitely going to impact coffee as much as we know they are definitely going to impact tea. I did actually reach out. I was so excited. I found a contact and she got back to me so quickly. I reached out to Java Planet and I was really happy with the answer they gave me. But in the end, the long and the short of it is prices are gonna go up some. They just are. There's, like, no way around it. But like Redmond Salt, they actually also are doing lots of things to safeguard, to keep the price at the best they can for their customer, and they don't foresee a huge jump in prices. They did say, and I didn't ask them which one, but they did say that one particular coffee they sell is predicted to go up. Their sourcing of it will cost them 45% more. And if that happens, and if they can't get around it in some way, not that sounded funny, if they can't make up for the loss in some way without passing it on to the customer, then they're just not going to sell that coffee. So I guess that's a great reason to stock up on coffee, right? Not only might it go up in price a lot, But if you have a flavor you really love, it could be that the company just stops selling that flavor if the price goes up too much. Because no company wants to have something, an outlandish price on their website. Like it's just embarrassing. It's just weird, right? Especially if the other coffees are reasonable and then there's this one that's a crazy price. You can't justify that. So I highly recommend you go check out Java Coffee or Java Planet. And I couldn't believe how sweet they were to set up a special for you guys like so quickly because I told them I wanted to share it with you guys. And they have already set up a special code for you. Use the code solely rested and save 10% off your order. Like I said, if you order over $60, shipping is even free. It's crazy. I was so excited that I reached this really awesome lady that was so helpful and set this all up for you guys. Um, so I do have notes here to tell you a little bit more about their coffee. They have specialty grade beans that are grown at high altitudes that are organic certified and naturally low in acid. They are third party tested and they are free from mold. I love that about a company when they're so transparent that they test their ingredients with a third party who has been certified and who is removed from them. So it's something you can truly trust. And Redmond Real Salt does the same thing. Like, I love that. They're transparent and they're telling you, we want to make sure we're offering you the best product. And to be sure, we do third party testing. So that is the fourth thing that I am stocking up on. I'm getting more. I mean, I think I'm going to get another 5 pound bag, honestly. Um, it's that good, guys. The fifth thing. So let me just review teas, salt, flour, and coffee. The fifth thing is botanicals or medicinal ingredients. In general, a lot of botanicals are imported into the US and they're not grown domestically. Some botanicals aren't really economically viable to produce them in the US or grow them here due to our climate or due to the cost. They can just get it a lot cheaper from outside the US. Now, if that is the case, and companies that are selling these botanicals have decided, you know what, let's switch gears, let's start growing our own right here in the US, it's going to take a little while for them to get all those details figured out. You can't just snap your finger and have flowers that you can sell, right? So, even if it's a flower that can be grown in the US, there's really no guarantee you'll be able to source it if you're purchasing it, not outside just foraging it yourself, at a good price once the tariffs really have their impact and trickle down. And some botanicals are simply not able to be grown in the US, period. Some of them grow only in certain regions of the world. And in fact, a significant portion I was researching of flowers that are used as botanicals are imported from Colombia and Ecuador because in those two countries, there's a year round climate that is great for growing the whole floral industry. So, if there are some medicinals that you like using, whether it's like in powder form to add it to your latte or your coffee or your hot chocolate every day. There's some that I love doing that with. Or if it's, flowers or dry leaves and you're making teas with it, that's a huge thing for me. I make all kinds of medicinal teas to help with allergies and cold symptoms and immunity when there's cold season that hits. I would much rather stock up now on botanicals than have to be buying um, over the counter medicines. I would much rather be able to make my own medicinal drinks and teas and stock up on the ingredients now so I can afford to do that all year or in the years ahead, even. So I do share a lot of my favorite medicinal tea recipes and I link to a lot of my favorite botanicals. And I told you I wasn't going to share yet another URL, but I will share this one because there is a whole page just for this solelyrested.com/botanical. Botanical, botanical. So there you have it. I share all of this with you to not rile any feathers, to not give you any political views of my own, because it's not a political issue. It's just a fact. Prices are going up. Like I said, I've talked to a lot of these companies directly, and Even if it's a small amount, they're going to go up. So if these are things that are useful to your family that it's good to have on hand, then consider stocking up. Now's the time to do it. Why not if you're able to? So that's my list. 5 items. There's plenty more. I'm sure as soon as I get done recording this, I'll be like, "Oh, I should have also mentioned blank because I'm gonna look into stocking up on that." But for now, that's what's in my head. Those are the 5 things that I have stocked up on or have things on order for. So, I hope that helps. I hope it is somehow encouraging you that you can have more real food in your life, more real delicious medicinal drinks, and you can do it on a budget. You can. So thanks for listening, friends. And remember, it's easy to forget how blessed we are to live this life. So enjoy the simple, everyday efforts. Might not be easy, but it is definitely worth it.